People always say identity is something you discover. But for me, identity was something I had to survive. Because the day I realized I wasn't adopted. The day I realized my parents didn't take me in out of kindness. But bought me. Like furniture, like property. Something inside me cracked so deeply that even today, I can still hear the sound. My name is Emma. And this is the story I've been running from my whole life. If you stay until the end, you'll understand why my parents don't dare call me anymore. Not after what I uncovered. Not after what I became. I grew up in a quiet Ohio neighborhood with trimmed lawns, friendly mailmen, and neighbors who waved too much. From the outside, I looked like every other middle-class American kid. But from inside, I always felt like a visitor. There were no bedtime hugs, no "I'm proud of you," no warmth. My mom, Karen, treated affection like a chore. My dad, Doug, treated me like a tax deduction. But I kept telling myself, this is normal. This is just how parents are. I believed that lie until I was 12. The first slip happened on an ordinary Sunday. I broke a vase, cheap, old, nothing special. But my mother's reaction? It wasn't anger. It was venom. She grabbed my wrist hard and whispered, "You should be grateful we even took you in. Other families wouldn't have bothered." I froze. Took me in? She realized immediately that she had said too much. Her eyes shifted, fear first, then irritation, then a fake smile. "Oh sweetie, I mean we love you." Obviously. But obviously, she didn't. Still, I swallowed it. I buried the confusion. Kids don't question parents. But that sentence dug into me like a splinter. And every time it slipped out again. During arguments, punishments, accidents. The splinter went deeper. Ungrateful. Lucky we accepted you. You weren't supposed to be this difficult. What kind of biological parents say that? I didn't realize it then. But that was the beginning of the truth scratching its way out. The forbidden basement was always locked. Whenever I asked why, the excuse changed. It's dangerous. It's moldy. It's a mess. There are spiders. Funny how spiders always get blamed for parents' secrets. One night, my parents left for a dinner party. While grabbing a spoon, the drawer jammed. I pulled harder. And a small silver key fell out from underneath. My heart stopped. I knew exactly what it was. I wish I could say I hesitated. That I thought about consequences. But the truth? I wanted answers. Answers my parents were never going to give me. I crept down the basement stairs. Every step creaking like it was warning me to turn back. I didn't. The air was thick, dusty, heavy. And in the far corner, behind holiday boxes, I saw a plastic container. On the lid, written in permanent marker. Emma, private. My name. In my father's handwriting. I felt something primitive inside me whisper. This is it. Inside the box, there were only 3 items. Just 3 things that shattered everything I believed about myself. 1. A hospital wristband. 2. A newborn's Polaroid. 3. A folded document. At first glance, the document looked like a birth certificate. But something was off. The parents' names were blank. The city was wrong. The date was wrong. But the worst part? Across the top were typed words no birth certificate should ever have. Temporary hold, release upon payment. Payment. Release. My stomach twisted. My hand shook as I flipped it over. And saw a handwritten signature. My father's. And next to it, paid in full. No further contact required. Paid. In full. For me. I dropped the paper and stumbled backward. My throat tightened. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't adopted. I wasn't taken in. I wasn't rescued. I was bought. Sold. A product. The truth hit me so hard my ears rang. And then I heard footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming down the stairs. My mother's voice sliced through the darkness. Emma, what exactly do you think you're doing down here? I turned, clutching the papers like a shield. Her eyes locked onto them instantly. Support? Compassion? Regret? No. Just annoyed she'd been caught. She didn't ask how I felt. She didn't explain. She didn't apologize. She walked straight up to me, snatched the documents, and whispered. You weren't supposed to find that. Not, it's not what you think. Not, let me explain. Just. You weren't supposed to find it. My voice trembled. Am I adopted? She sighed. Oh, Emma, don't start. Am I adopted? She stared at me. Cold. Impatient. No. You're not adopted. My heart dropped in relief. Until she finished the sentence. You're purchased. I swear the basement spun. The air disappeared. I felt myself shrinking, collapsing, disappearing. My mother straightened her shirt, like this was just another inconvenience. You were a private arrangement, she continued. Some women don't want their babies. They name a price. We paid. That's it. That's it? Yes, she said sharply. You're ours. We paid for you. End of story. But it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a nightmare. Something changed after that night. Not in them. In me. Every word they spoke felt different now. Every rule. Every restriction. Every punishment. Because once someone tells you they bought you, every kindness feels fake. Every smile feels rehearsed. Every hug feels like a transaction. My childhood rewrote itself in my memory. The coldness now made sense. The distance. The resentment. I wasn't a daughter. I was an investment. And they expected returns. It took me weeks to gather the courage to confront my father. I waited until he was alone in the garage. Pretending to fix something he probably broke himself. Dad, I said, my voice thin. I know the truth. He didn't deny it. Not even for a second. He didn't avoid my eyes. He didn't panic. He just sighed, like I'd ruined his evening. Yes, Emma, he said. We bought you. And honestly, considering how expensive you were, you really need to start behaving better. Behaving better. Like a product under warranty. I asked him why. Why they did it. Why they lied. He shrugged. Your mother wanted a child. Adoption takes forever. This was faster. Cheaper too. Cheaper. Faster. Like ordering a couch online. And then he walked past me, patting my shoulder like he was comforting a stranger's kid. Now don't bring this up again, he said. It's embarrassing. For him. Not for the child who had just learned she was a receipt. After that night, life didn't go back to normal. Because nothing was normal anymore. Every sound felt louder. Every conversation felt fake. Every family photo looked staged. I watched my parents interact with me. Like someone watches actors on a stage. Knowing none of it is real. I felt like a ghost wandering through a house that wasn't mine. I wasn't angry yet. I wasn't vengeful. I was hollow. I spent nights staring at the ceiling, whispering the same question. Who am I? Where am I from? Who gave birth to me? My parents had answers. But they refused to give them. And that's when something inside me changed. Not suddenly. Slowly. A fire. A quiet fire. A fire that said, if they won't tell you who you are, go find out yourself. And that moment was the true beginning of the story. Because the journey I took after that didn't just expose the truth about my birth. It destroyed everything my parents tried to bury. After I learned the truth, nothing mattered anymore. Not grades, not chores, not family dinners, not fake affection. The only thing that mattered was that wristband. The hospital name was faded but still readable. St. Marlow Women's Center. A place I had never heard of. A place my parents refused to talk about. I hid the wristband inside my pillowcase and waited until my parents were asleep. Then I opened my laptop. If they weren't going to tell me who I was, I'd find out myself. Google showed me everything I needed to know. A small clinic. A rural location. A long, ugly history of private arrangements. My stomach dropped. This wasn't an adoption center. This was a place where desperate girls were pressured to sell their babies. And I was one of those babies. Part of me wanted to cry. The other part? It woke up. For the first time in my life, I wasn't scared. I was determined. I copied the address, wrote it on a sticky note, and packed a small bag. Clothes. Water. My phone. And the wristband. I left at dawn. No note. No explanation. No goodbye. And for the first time ever, I felt free. The building was old, partially abandoned, half boarded up. But the sign was still there. St. Marlow Women's Center. Maternity. Counseling. Private services. Inside, only one woman worked the front desk. Gray hair. Sharp eyes. Too calm. Can I help you? She asked. I took a deep breath and placed the wristband on the counter. I'm looking for information about my birth. Her expression changed instantly. Not shock. Recognition. She pressed her lips together like she'd seen 1,000 kids like me. What's your name? She asked. Emma. She typed something on her computer. Then inhaled sharply. Her eyes didn't soften. They hardened. I remember you, she said quietly. You weren't supposed to come back. My skin chilled. What do you know about me? I asked. She hesitated, looking around to make sure no one else was listening. Your mother, she whispered. Didn't want to sell you. My breath caught. She wanted to keep you. She begged. She cried. She fought. My heart slammed against my ribs. Then why? Because the man she was with forced her, the woman said. He owed money. Your birth was used as repayment. Repayment. Like I was a debt. I gripped the counter. My legs felt weak. Who was he? I demanded. The woman swallowed. I shouldn't say. Please. My voice cracked. She's my mother. I deserve to know. She looked at me long and hard. Then she slipped me a torn page from an old file. A name. A city. A date. Not my mother's, but his. The man who sold me. Andrew Hale. I stared at that name until it blurred. My biological mother had tried to keep me. A man, Andrew, had sold me instead. And he was still alive. Living only 2 hours away. That information didn't feel real. It felt like a movie plot. But then the woman said something that cut deeper than everything else. She left a note for you. Your mother. I kept it, in case she ever came back. My heartbeat stopped. A note. From her. She disappeared into a back room and returned with a tiny sealed envelope. Old. Yellowed. Delicate. On the front. For my daughter, if she ever comes looking. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a short handwritten message. My baby. I'm sorry. I wanted you. I fought for you. I prayed for you. If you ever find this, please know you were loved from the first heartbeat. I didn't give you away. You were taken. If you want to find me, follow your heart. It will lead you where I couldn't. Mom. I pressed the letter to my chest and sobbed. Real sobs. Sobs I had never allowed myself to release before. Not because I was sad, but because for the first time in my life, someone had loved me. Someone had wanted me. Someone had fought for me. I had a real mother. A real past. A real identity. And I would find them both. When I returned home that night, my parents were waiting at the door. My mother's arms were crossed. My father's jaw was tight. Where were you? He snapped. Finding out who I am. My mother rolled her eyes. Oh God, Emma, not this again. I know the truth, I said firmly. I know everything. Her face drained of color. My father stepped forward. You need to stop this nonsense right now. No, I said. For the first time in my life. I'm not stopping. They threatened to ground me. Take my phone. Remove privileges. I laughed. Privileges? You don't get to control me. I'm not your property anymore. My father grabbed my arm. A reflex he always used to intimidate me. But this time, I didn't freeze. I stared him dead in the eyes. Touch me again, I whispered. And I pressed charges for child trafficking. He dropped my arm instantly. They knew. They understood. I wasn't the scared little girl they bought. I was the young woman their lies created. And they couldn't control me anymore. The next day, I took a bus to the address written in the file. A worn-down apartment complex. Beer cans on the ground. Faded paint. Broken lights. A man opened the door. Mid-50s. Shallow eyes. Rough hands. Andrew Hale? I asked. His eyes narrowed. Who's asking? I stepped forward and held up the wristband. I think you know. His face twisted. Shock. Then annoyance. Oh great, he muttered. Another one. Another what? I demanded. He sighed. Another kid coming to cry about their past. Look, I needed money back then. People bought babies. It was normal. I felt sick. You sold me. He shrugged. Yeah. So? So? I repeated, my voice cracking. That was my life. My childhood. My identity. He lit a cigarette like we were talking about some old furniture he pawned. You got a family out of it, didn't you? I stepped closer. They weren't a family. They were buyers. He looked me up and down, bored. Well, I can't change the past. So unless you came here to give me guilt, which I don't feel, by the way, you can leave. I stared at him. And in that moment, every unanswered question, every empty birthday, every cold touch, burned inside me. Not as sadness. As power. I didn't come here for guilt, I said softly. I came here to close the door. And I walked away. I didn't look back. He didn't deserve a second glance. He had taken enough from me. Days later, I used the clinic's information to track women who had given birth on my date. It took weeks. Dozens of calls. Hundreds of emails. Finally, one woman responded. Her name was Lily. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop. My legs shook the entire walk there. And when I saw her, a woman with gentle eyes and trembling hands, I knew instantly. That was her. That was my mother. She looked at me like she was staring at a dream. She prayed for, but never believed she'd see again. Emma, she whispered. I nodded, tears already blurring my vision. She covered her mouth and cried. Not like the cold woman who raised me, but like someone who had lost a piece of her soul and just found it again. When she pulled me into her arms, I felt something I had never felt before. Home. Warmth. Belonging. She told me everything. How she had fought to keep me. How she had been threatened. How she woke up after delivery and I was gone. How she searched for years until she was told I had died. She thought I was dead. Imagine thinking you buried your child, only to see her standing in front of you years later. She held my face between her hands and whispered, I never stopped loving you. Not for a second. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged to someone. Not because they bought me. Because they loved me. I decided to confront the people who raised me. One last time. Not for closure. For finality. I walked into the house calmly. They were sitting at the dining table, stiff and silent. My mother spoke first. So. You found her. I didn't respond. My father scoffed. Are you satisfied now? You dug up the past. Congratulations. I placed the note on the table. My real mother's handwriting. Her words. Her love. My adoptive mother's eyes flickered. Guilt, resentment, fear. Good. You lied, I said. You stole me. You hid me. You made me feel unwanted my whole life. My father rolled his eyes. We gave you a home. You gave me a prison, I replied. And now? I'm free. My mother leaned forward. Where do you think you're going to go? You have nothing. I smiled. I have everything. A real mother. A real identity. A real future. My father scoffed again. You'll come crawling back. They always do. I stepped toward the door. No, I said softly. I'm not coming back. And I'm not your daughter. Not by blood. Not by love. Not by anything. I opened the door. And one more thing. If you ever contact me again, I'll make sure the world knows exactly what you did. Their faces went white. And then I walked out, closing that chapter forever. I moved in with my biological mother for a while. She helped me heal in ways I didn't know were possible. She told me stories of when she was pregnant with me. How she used to talk to me. Sing to me. Dream of holding me. Every day, I felt pieces of myself returning. I started therapy. I started rebuilding. I started choosing my own life. I went to college. Got scholarships. Worked 2 jobs. Graduated top of my class. I built a career. A home. A life. One built on truth, not lies. And slowly, I became someone powerful. Confident. Complete. Someone my buyers never expected me to become. People ask me sometimes, do you hate the people who bought you? I used to. But then something changed. I realized. They didn't break me. They built the fire that made me unstoppable. And yes, I was sold. But I'll never be owned again. In the end, I found the truth. I found my real mother. I found myself. And that is the greatest revenge.